What's going on with your hair? First of all, it looks like you've had an argument with the hairdryer.
Do you know
Where are you?
I'm happy to chat about the hair. The where are you is going to blow your mind. the hair
Okay,
is
hold on. Welcome along to the Offload podcast. Lots to discuss here. Looking forward to this. So we've both just logged on. You're in a bedroom. You're not at home.
I'm not. I'm in a cabin, fella. I'm on a ferry. I'm on a Stena Line ferry doing a little bit of work. You know me. So there we are. Can I show you? Can I take this off? Will I bring you around?
For people who won't be watching online,
but
go on. Why? What are you going to show me?
There's Dublin Port out the window. Like, can you see that?
No, I just see a big white circle. But
okay.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I know.
So what do you do? You have a bit of a gig going on, have you?
You know me. I've always been passionate about travelling by ferry. So myself and Stena Line are doing a little bit together. You know that.
Were you not at the gardening festival last week as well?
Blue.
What was that with the dinosaur? Bloom.
Yeah, I've always had a big thing for gardening and dinosaurs. Yeah, and Universal is one of my favourite, motion pictures. So yeah.
Did I not see you taking a GoPro out of fridge in Tesco recently?
Look, you need it advertised. Give me a shout. I'm there for you. You know it too well. No.
Good. So what are you doing on the boat? Where are you going?
We're capturing content for on the way back, Father's Day, kind of stuff like that with Stena Line. So looking forward to it. I don't know, can I say too much? Because, well, I've probably already said a little bit of too much because it's meant to go kind of later. But yeah, I'm glad they've made long. Can I say though, Tommy, for travel, man, the ferry never gets enough credit. Sure it doesn't?
No. When I'm going over to see the in-laws, I love getting the ferry. Rosslare, over to Fishguard.
Do you know what as well? None of the hassle getting on. You know that way? I know we sound like we're selling it, but you know the way the airport is anxiety-based. You're just paranoid from the second you go through security, isn't it?
You are. Like, you're on a cabin now, to be fair as well. Sometimes when I get on the boat, you're crammed in there, and I took my daughter with me last time. Now, she loved it. We were out the front, and you're looking, and we saw loads of jellyfish, and we actually saw a dolphin.
Brilliant.
Or so she told me.
Maybe it was a shark.
But it's cool. It's something different, isn't it?
Yeah, brilliant. I'm going out there now in a while to do King of the World. We better get going though, to be honest. We said we're spinnakers away in 40 minutes, Tommy, so we really don't need to go over that.
I'm on a boat.
I'm on a boat.
Anything else going on with you this week? Good week?
Yeah, good week. All's good. Yeah, obviously there's plenty going on rugby-wise. Can't wait to chat it all out. But how's your week been? Who have you had on? Ireland AM, all the exciting things. What's the goal with Tommy?
I actually we've had a good interview today, and I want to tell you about it, right? But first, so we're obviously going to talk big news. Stuart Lancaster going to Connacht.
Amazing!
I did not see that coming.
Brilliant.
So that's going to have to be discussed. This new R360 league that Mike Tyndall is fronting. It's like a super league for club rugby. I tell you what, I am sold with this. So we'll get into that as well. I'll educate you a bit more on that as well, because I know you haven't been following it. Paul O'Connell's named his Ireland squad. A couple of Mabel surprises on that one as well. And we have to discuss Leinster playing against the Scarlets, or Glasgow this weekend semi-final. And we have to discuss the Sharks' antics against Munster as well. So lots to get into. But first of all, yes, right. So I was on Ireland AM this morning. We had this British canoeist. I don't know if you saw him in the news.
I only read about him the other day on the BBC. This, what's his name? Kurt Adams.
Kurt Adams Rosenthal's. Yeah, what a name.
Oh, are we?
Yeah. So anyway, right, this fella, right, he's a medalist and individual canoe, and it's the cool one actually. I remember watching it at the last Olympics where like the water's coming so fast and you have to go backwards and forwards and around through the anyway, not selling it very well, but it's pretty cool, right? So he is a full-time athlete with Great Britain, wanting to go to the Olympics, but the funding that he gets is minimal. And we hear about this with the Irish boxers. You hear about like even the Sevens lads, like the money that they were getting paid to go and represent Ireland in the Olympics was, it's not great money for a lot of them anyway, particularly for periphery sports like canoeing. So he was getting around 19 grand sterling a year to try and be a full-time athlete. So he was going off and he was having to work in Amazon, doing extra shifts and that. His mum then got quite ill, right? And they were really hard up on money, had no money, didn't know what to do. But he's obviously a young, fit lad. So he decided to set up an OnlyFans account.
I read this. Incredible. Incredible.
So, yeah, so this is OnlyFans account. So he said, like, the world has changed. Like, I don't condone this. I wouldn't be advising other people to do it. But he set up an OnlyFans account. He's making pretty big money on
Yeah,
it.
what
And
I read, Tommy, is he's making six figures off his OnlyFans account. Like you
yeah,
can imagine, he's a canoeist. I think they call it paddle. Is that what he does? Quite a fitting name for him.
that's quite the paddle I gather he has. No
But
wonder he's earning so much money.
but you mentioned that there, even within that sport, man, all the kind of oblique work and stuff like that. So, like, I've seen a few of his shots. He's fairly shredded. You can
He's
see
shredded.
why, and he's a good-looking guy as well. You know what I
So he
mean? So,
showed us so we saw like his Instagram pictures and he's there just in his Speedos, whatever else. He goes, yeah, kind of pictures like that, but obviously a little bit more. Right. So anyway, he's earning, yeah, six figures on this, but the Paddle UK, so the fund and governing body have suspended him. And it's in an investigation at the minute, but it looks like he's losing his fund and potentially might not be able to represent Great Britain in the Olympics. And I was just wondering, right? If there are a lot, like say the sevens lads, for instance, right? We're playing sevens. There was a lot of talk about how they're not paid mega bucks. So, or if an Irish athlete, a boxer, for instance, was to go and set up an OnlyFans, like, is that allowed anymore?
well,
Is that kind of fair game? Go for it, try and make the money, or where are we kind of going with the values of being a good role model?
yeah,
I don't know. What do you
but
think?
I know, but role models doesn't help you look after your sick mom or put bread on the table as well, you know. So
No,
he's doing by any means, and you can't survive on that. You know, when trying to be a professional on what is it? You said 19 grand a year.
19 grand a year, yeah.
So he's probably finding the best way to get it done. This is interesting because didn't the States have this problem with college athletes? And finally they broke, and now college athletes can be paid. And an awful lot of them are like mega stars straight away
Yeah.
because, you know, some of those college athletes, some of college football, there can be over 100,000 people at those games. They're
Not
massive
yeah.
stars.
Notre Dame, I think, is sold out, has literally sold out at stadium. I think they play 8 matches a season in Notre Dame. It's sold out every year for the last 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
Over 100,000 people watching it. And then the players get nothing. It goes back to the college. So now, of course, the players are getting paid. It just, yeah, I just wonder, it hasn't obviously happened in Ireland. I think there's another British gymnast maybe who set up an OnlyFans and they are allowed to compete. I just wonder, where is this going to go? And if people think that they can make six figures in a certain period of time to try and fund their way to make it to the Olympics, I don't
So
know. Very interesting.
you were chatting to him today, Tommy. What's the predicament? How's it left? Is he going to be pulled out of the Olympics program, or is he being? Are they putting a kind of giving him an ultimatum? Either you stop doing this or you're gone.
Well, they haven't made it very concrete or very clear why they've pulled him, right? So they've kind of make it, maybe it's around his Instagram page. I'm not too sure, but we asked him at the end, he said, like, and to be fair, he was like, I always wanted to be a professional athlete or a top level athlete. I want to represent Great Britain. I'm really so proud of it. At the end of it, I asked him, I said, okay, so if you were to compete at the next Olympics, but the governing body said that you had to close down your OnlyFans, would you? And he said no. So there you go. The money's too good.
Yeah, but you look, yet again, we don't know the situation as
No.
well. You know what I mean? You mentioned his family background and stuff like that. Guys got to do what they have to do. And it's a pity that their dream of, you know, being a talent and being something incredible are kind of held up on that. Where was OnlyFans when I was in the jocks, man?
I know.
You
You could
know,
have made some money on the
could you
red jocks with
imagine
that,
me?
couldn't you? Do, do,
There
do,
you go.
do, do.
They're in the actually it's gone now. The museum in Limerick. That's where they were. I gotta go get them and get on
Where,
OnlyFans. that's the way
is that where they
forward for
were?
me. Yes.
Where has all the stuff from the museum gone?
That's a great question. Who do we get on to? O'Connell was involved, wasn't he?
O'Connell's
But
auctioned it off for the
it's
Lions
he's
or for the Irish tour.
he's bringing it on tour with him. The Portuguese and the Georgians will be presented with my jocks. Thanks very much for the game today.
That's
Here's
unreal. There was so much stuff there, memorabilia. Yeah, your red jocks.
yeah,
I
there
wonder
we
where
go.
they gone.
Oh yeah,
Here, yeah. Well, listen, you could have been a hell of an OnlyFans, all right.
there
But
we
it
go.
does, right? It leads into this next conversation, and I mentioned there this R360 league, right? And we're
Just
talking about. Go on.
it needs a better name than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not great, is it? No.
You know what I mean? Everyone's looking for sponsors, even our boy on OnlyFans. But someone get a hold of that good and early.
The Offload League. There you have it.
There you go.
Sorted.
Done.
So this is about creating a super league competition, right? They're talking about creating 8 male teams, 4 women's teams, and they'll be playing club rugby, right? So this is a club structure. So the way they're saying it is that the international game of rugby is flying. You think of the World Cup was a real success, Six Nations amazing success, the Lions series is going to be an amazing success. But if you look at the club game, there is no club, they say, or very, very few clubs out there that are making a profit. Like they're closing down, they're losing money, everything is getting squeezed more. So they were saying that player salaries since COVID have dropped on average 30%.
Oh wow.
So the top players are getting paid a lot more, but actually it's the middlemen and the lower ones are getting paid 30% less.
Yeah, well, that's
And
sad. That's sad to hear, isn't it, Tommy? Because we know the gruel, you know, the things those lads are putting their bodies through. I'm glad the top lads get paid as well as they do because everything is left to them, really. You know what I mean?
yeah.
The kind of season rolls around them. But yeah, as ex-players, we'd like to see the lads getting paid as well as they possibly could.
Well, this is it, right? You look at, say, some of the players who are playing over in Wales, like, Donncha, we did it because we loved rugby, and I'd say all these players are doing it because they love rugby. But all you hear now from parents are them talking about, I don't know if I want my kids to be doing that. You know, you're watching these mega impacts and collisions, and if you look at it realistically, the middle tier players aren't making the sort of money that they'd be kind of thinking, is this really worthwhile me potentially wrecking my body to have to then get to 30 years of age and go back and find a proper job, start again, try and reinvent myself. So anyway, what this league is, 8 men's, 8 women's, it will be played around the international windows. So they want the players to still be able to play in the Six Nations, play in the summer tour, play in the autumn internationals, and then this league setup is played around that. So it's between April and June and August and September, and they'll be playing probably about 10, 12 games.
Ooh, wow. So sorry, from a player's point of view, less matches.
Yeah, so it's all player welfare. They'll get 3 months off at the end of the autumn series, right before the Six Nations. So they get a 3 month break, and then they'll play probably 10 internationals to 12 internationals a year, and 12 of these league matches at the top level. So all of a sudden, these players are playing less rugby, but they want to double their salary. So, say for instance, you have the top player in Ireland, say Caelan Doris, right, who
Yeah.
might be earning 500 grand, say, right? I'm not too don't know
Yeah.
what he's earning, but
Okay,
say
we're
around that.
guessing, yeah.
If you were to say we're going to double that to 1 million or 1.2 or 1.5 million, which is generally they're talking millions here, what they're going to be
Okay.
paying these players, they got to consider it.
It sounds very live-like, doesn't it? It sounds a bit like the golf.
Well, it is live, right? So
Is that
this
what
is
it is? It's
yeah. So
Saudi
this
money,
is
okay.
coming through. I think the proposal is looking like it's been backed by the PIF, I think it is, right? But this is another one, right? So you have to mention it because if you think of the other sports that are being funded by this, because you kind of think, oh, rugby can't be doing this, but Formula One has a number of races over there. Football, you have Newcastle are owned by the Saudi Arabian Wealth Fund. You have Ronaldo, Neymar, Benzema are all playing the Saudi League over there. You have all the big boxing matches over there. The FIFA World Cup is going to be in Saudi Arabia in football. IPL sponsor the cricket. Horse racing, one of the biggest horse racing events is over there. The tennis, the IPL tennis competition is going to be there. MMA and, of course, Live Golf. So, I mean, if you think about all those other sports, rugby's the only other one out there.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And it's frightening to say, but you can say, you know, morals and different side of that. But when you welcome in professionalism, they eventually erode and go, don't they? And like, you like look at Rory McIlroy. He's been quite an example, hasn't he, to sticking to his values and what he's about and not being turned.
I'm a big fan of Rory McIlroy, and I kind of know half Rory as well. And Rory was brilliant talking about live and against that. I thought he was fantastic. But Rory has been sponsored by Jumeirah Beach for how long? He always plays the Dubai Open. He's always playing in the Middle East.
Whoa, like Tommy, we've had some pops in our time, but having a go off poor old Rory, man.
No. But like Rory, like live golf, yes, he doesn't agree with that because he's a big believer in the PGA or whatever else. But he's still more than happy to go over and play in the Dubai Open. Oh, bing bong.
I'm really sorry about this, but we're just setting sail. You couldn't write it. I don't know what you can do, Jace, if you can edit this bit out. Just everyone remember, this is the bit where Tommy Bowe slagged off Rory, and then eventually with all the kind of Saudi money, they ended up having a fight. A URC fight.
Rory, you hear me, all right?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting, right? The URC, we're talking about Leinster at the minute. You know, who's going to be going to watch them at the weekend? I think they'd only 11,000 watch them in the quarterfinal last weekend. The English clubs are closing down, and you have the likes of Worcester, Wasps. These teams are closing. London Irish.
Even Wales, the whole region, man. Look at what's
Cardiff.
going on there. Yes,
All
the
of them.
Scarlets. Yeah.
And if you think, Donncha, like the game of rugby, the players are doing their bit.
Yeah, they are.
Like the game of rugby is good. It's good view. Like we slag it off a bit here, but I mean, in terms of compared to other sports, rugby is as good as any.
Yeah, I agree.
It's the off the field stuff that's just not working.
Yeah, and Tommy, I know this sounds awful, but I think this is what it could need, man. It could need fresh, new thinking. How do you do it differently? And I know we keep going back to it, but the Netflix opportunity with that, I don't see why rugby doesn't sit down with Formula One or sit down with UFC and just kind of like, this is what we have. This is what's beautiful about our game. How do we sell it? You know what I mean? And look, anything that genuinely, anything that looks after the players a little bit better, I'd nearly be in favour of. Of course, I'm proud and I love kind of my clubs and where I come from, but I realise that is becoming more and more limited. For me, to get that feeling, I've had to actually go back to grassroots with my kind of club, Cork On, because all the rest of it, you know what I mean? You see the way rugby's going. Like, look at BaaBaas, look at Leinster, it's money led. And if we just leave a few push on, as opposed to maybe this is thinking of rising all boats. So what would happen here? Would it be like the cricket? You assemble the squad and then you farm them out to different teams, or are you buying? You know what I mean?
You're buying players, so it's like a draft, right? So it looks like there's eight teams.
Even that's interesting.
I know 8 teams of 25 players, right? And then you have 4 teams of women's. So there's 4 women's teams, 8 men's teams, and then they play at a weekend. So you'd have one weekend would be in London, another weekend in Paris, another weekend in Cape Town, another weekend in Sydney, another weekend in LA, another weekend in New York or Boston, and then a weekend probably in Saudi Arabia. Do you know what I mean? And then, but it's played, so you have, say, 6 matches played over Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all saying Wembley Stadium. And you keep people all there and they have big concerts around it. They make it an all-day event. So the people turn up and they pay 100 quid or whatever to get a ticket, but they're there for the whole day to watch 3 matches plus see a concert during the middle of it.
Well, actually, you mentioned the Leinster match, and I'll go back to it. I was at it. The atmosphere was awful. And you're right, I kind of felt for the players a little bit. They're, like, of course, going out and trying to execute. But I think what we're learning is you need to add more. Like, to be fair, that mascot, man, the lion, he couldn't be given it anymore. He should be paid as much as Snyman, man. He genuinely ran around the place giving it holly for the whole thing. But, like, if you're just relying on one thing, you need to... Like, you know what I mean? I found it mind blown that we were in our capital city on Saturday, right? I got the train up. The place was hopping. Hens, stags, Bloom, all this. Dublin was hopping. And then I went to the stadium and it was like an out of body experience. There was such a poor crowd. And then I was looking,
Yeah.
what's around it? What brings you to go there to, you know what I mean, bar trying to teach your kids the values that are on the pitch. But what else is
Mhm.
there for them? There isn't a whole lot else.
No. A lot, and somebody said that to me recently that they went to watch a Premier League match with their kid. They went to watch an English Premiership match with their kid, and a cricket match, and they found the rugby the worst in terms of entertainment value. So, like, rugby has to embrace its fans, right? Like, and you said Netflix. Like, Irish rugby shunned Netflix because they didn't want to give inside access. You have to, like, Donncha, Leinster had the most players picked in the Lions squad. Did we see any reactions? Did we see anything from any of the players? Even Tyg Byrne for down in Munster, Bundy Aki, Mac Hansen. Like, where's the reaction? Where's giving the fans back? Because those videos make such a difference. And again, right, and I'm not like, I obviously just listened to a conversation with Mike Tyndall on this, and I'm really intrigued by this league. But he's saying, right, there's 800 million global rugby supporters. I was like, wow, that's but it's according to some big Kantar study, and I actually looked it up. It is on the World Rugby website, right? But they bring in between 3 to 4 billion in revenue a year, right? NFL, American football, has around 410 million fans. So nearly half the fans of global rugby, right? But they bring in 167 billion in revenue because they bring the fans in, they do behind the scenes, they let people, they go on a road show to London and they make it so immersive. I don't know. I think rugby needs to maybe, it needs it needs blown up in this club scene and maybe started again. And the URC and everything else will still compete. Like the likes of Leinster might lose 5, 6 players. Ulster, maybe one. Munster, probably none. Connacht, maybe one or two. But like they're going to be coming from, you're talking the Bowden Barretts, the Cheslin Colbys, the Antoine Duponts. Like there's going to be players from all over the world join this. I just thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, it is. Look, it definitely needs big thinking, doesn't it? It all
Yeah.
needs a bit of a shake up because you're right. The definition of madness, keep doing what we're doing. And it's not been successful. We mentioned them all that are in trouble. And how do you fund the game while still keeping bits of it, you know what I mean, that are really important. But I like that idea. I think what you're saying there about the NFL analogy is very smart in terms of the players probably play less games. But Tommy, you know it, man. When you're playing less games and you're being paid bigger money, you have to bang. So I actually would
Oh,
think those games could be quite incredible. I like the whole sound of the draft kind of side of it. Of course,
imagine the draft.
oh man. But
Imagine like DuPont comes up first and you have to like
oh,
who get to pick him, and it'd be cool, wouldn't it?
yeah. But then again, I am a purist, but this makes me more than anything. I see, because always the conversation start about our Gaelic games, and you know what I mean. I do agree the players need to be looked after for the amount of absolute sacrifices they put into it. But I think if you ever chat about professionalism sport, you open, you know what I mean, Pandora's box in terms of, there you go. It all starts corroding, but it doesn't take long for things to grow. Like if you just look at the URC now, right? There's
Mhm.
proper niggle between Glasgow and Munster, who would never come across each other, right? And now there's proper niggle between the Sharks and Munster. You know,
Oh, there is
like,
now.
no, but do you know what I mean? So, like, I know everyone's saying it's soulless, but give it time, and all of a sudden you're kind of going, you know what I mean? Oh, I
What's the
can't.
common denominator here?
Money.
Munster. There's niggle with them and everyone. I mean,
Good,
that's
good,
literally it.
good. Because it's important. It's important. I think that bit of bite's important. Look, I
Rivalries build a game big time.
rivalries
And
do.
that's it. With this sort of global franchise thing, can you really build a rivalry? I don't know. I don't know. And it probably won't work, but I just think it's pretty interesting. And I just think in this day and age, to be asking players to go put their body on the line and to not and maybe not be rewarded financially the likes of other sports. If a player gets offered an opportunity to make serious money, go for it, man. Go and enjoy it, because there's a lot of life after rugby, and going back to work in the office is going to be is difficult for a lot of people.
You don't want to be on OnlyFans like Dunners at 46 years of age in the red jock zone. I still got it.
The DILF. There you go.
No, take it while you can. But of course, look, I'm glad that it doesn't compete with some of the things. You know what I mean? I'm glad it doesn't compete with. I actually agree. I think international rugby has been incredible, but nothing has scratched the itch away from a club wise. And look, I know I'm being overly harsh, but I think Europe has been so lucky by the knockout stages and then the kind of finals we've had. Other than that, it's been shite. Genuine.
Totally. And this is the thing, Donncha, up until I think probably a month or two before the season started, I don't think they'd even a TV sponsor until Premier come in and saved the day. Like TNT and Sky, they weren't even interested. So anyway, right, that's enough discussion on that. Give us your opinion on it. Are we talking rubbish here? We'd love to hear from you. Or do you think there's legs in it? Right, Stuart, Lancaster. Where the hell has that come from? To Connacht?
Honestly, do you know one of these news announcements? Well, because everything's kind of, you know what I mean? That I haven't felt joy like it, man. I am so thrilled. I genuinely, across the board, one, because he's an incredible coach, but two, for Connacht at a critical time. And do you know what? It actually banged home to me. And I'm surprised I ever, not that I doubted it, but David Humphrey's been true to his word. He's not bringing Leinster down, he's bringing the rest up. And I think he's been true to his word with bringing in the likes of Macmillan and Lancaster. They're like, how do you change a culture? You know what I mean? You put a good leader in at top to kind of create it. And I think they've been two of the best. I'm thrilled for Connacht. I really am. I think he'll do an incredible job there. I think it's great also from an Irish point of view to have someone like that back in the system. You know what I mean? You want everyone competing, and I just for that Connacht group who've kind of been in a difficult time with coaches, to have a main man is going to be so good, you know.
I mean, listen, what a coup for Connacht. It's unbelievable. And as you said, David Humphreys has set a stall out, as opposed to signing these world rock stars, which we're talking about this World League, actually signing good coaches will raise these teams up to a new level, because any business with the right leader in it can make such a difference. And Stuart Lancaster was fantastic with Leinster. He didn't have a great time with Racing, but to have Mackenzie coming into Munster, Lancaster there, you have Jacques Nienaber, a double World Cup winner in Leinster. Like, we have Richie Murphy up in Connacht, and I love Richie Murphy. He's doing a wonderful job in bringing through a lot of young players. But realistically, we finished third or fourth bottom in the league. And I'm just kind of thinking, like, did Connacht start this conversation? Was this Humphreys? Are the IRFU funding it?
Tommy, don't be a bollocks. Genuinely, just be delighted for Connacht, man. Honestly, you're like...
Oh yeah, it's great for you with your new Chiefs head coach bringing in players all the way from New Zealand, and happy days. Good for you.
You've got one of the most exciting Irish coaches. You know what I mean? Successful with the under-20s. It's the same as like everyone chats about in England with Lee Carsley, and you're probably in a point for that. But
yes, I totally, Donncha. But we finished third from bottom this year, right? Which is obviously disappointing. I love Richie Murphy, and I think what he's doing has been brilliant. And I think the young coaching team that he's got with Mark Sexton, Johnny Sexton's brother coming up as well, they've got a great setup there. But maybe a bit of experience around that. Like, these guys played, coached the Irish under-20s, but to go into a week-on-week with Ulster, listen, I just would see Connacht getting Stuart Lancaster, and kind of thinking, flips, like, wow,
do you know what, though?
Wow, well done,
do you know what?
Connacht.
That's a good emotion to have as well, because not being harsh on me, it's a little bit of jealousy too, which, to be fair, Connacht haven't had in quite some time.
No, you're right.
If you look at how starved they've been for, you know what I mean, like, and things are going in the right direction. They really are. New stadium there. Like, he'll come in and look after that defensive end of it as well. And you know what I mean? Like, the worry for me is there's been a big player drain in terms of the talent they've lost. Some of those lads come down to Munster and lighten it up. And more moving away with that. It's how we.
Do you think he could recruit a few Leinster players?
Well,
to Connacht?
Yeah. I think
Oof.
I think those Leinster players will know what he's about, and it's a total different conversation with him compared to somebody else. Because
People loved him. They
you,
loved him, didn't they?
they loved his coaching, man, didn't they? You learn from Stuart Lancaster. That's all you were hearing. That, like, and to be fair, Tommy, let's not take away successful too. Compared to what we were looking at the weekend. Like I had a bit of a pop on RT. I was messing in ways, but I was kind of making the analogy that, Leinster have Ferraris spreading silage. You know what I mean? In the winds they're playing. But my point, and I was messing there. But what I'm
Hold
trying,
on, hold on, hold on, hold on. I'm going to read the quote. I don't think you did it justice there. You have the likes of Hugo Keenan and James Lowe, and all we're seeing at this point in the competition is them kicking the ball. I know you've got to win games and find a way, but honestly, it's like having Ferraris and using them to spread silage.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I, I can't imagine Leinster were too happy with that. But listen,
But
yeah, you have a point. Like,
do you know what? Maybe I chat in that way. I do an awful lot. I make bad, funny analogies with my kids.
it was funny. It was good.
Yeah,
it was good. I like it.
But we're being there to give our opinion, and I'll be honest with you. For me, for 2 weeks preparation for that coaching group to give those players that remit, that scouting order against Scarlets, I thought was miles off. And I'm hearing it all the time. You know what I mean? Oh, it's all on the players. It's all on the players. It's not on the players, man. You know what I mean? Like, give the players the right remit and they'll go out and execute. We know we've got really good players. It's just, I think everyone's kind of hiding behind this fact of, you know what I mean? You have to win in desperation rugby. If Leinster go out and play, man, they light it up,
Yeah. Well, this is it. I mean, they can light it up. But this season, they've been playing a new style of rugby, which we were raving about earlier in the season, about the defence and how hard they are to break down. But they conceded 3 tries to the Scarlets, and at half-time, they were leading 15 points to 14. And, like, you just wonder for the players, and I think Andrew Porter came out this week kind of saying, maybe I got a bit ahead of myself in talking about we don't care about the URC, and all of a sudden, they're knocked out.
Beep, beep, beep. Beware. That's the first time we've seen him reversing. Good on you, Porter. Do you like
Well, yes, he got ahead of himself.
I do
and
feel
he's-
I do
Go on.
feel the players are carrying the can a little bit more than they should on all this. Like, think of this, Tommy, right? Were you lucky enough to play for the BaaBaas?
Yes, once.
Go through that week and just give people a bit of context to that week. It is the greatest week of your sporting life, isn't it?
It is, and I only got to join it late, so I was a little bit gutted. And it was in Belfast, so it was even worse. No trip to Cape Town or London for me for that. But it's some of the greatest players coming together. Training is just so much crack. I think who was the head coach that year? But he was just, I think it was your man Dean. Was it the Aussie fella was head coach?
Robbie Dean, yeah.
But it's an amazing experience. Even you just think of being with the BaaBaas, you think back to the Gareth Edwards try. There's just something special about being part of the BaaBaas.
But I was lucky enough to tug out twice for them, and the remit is very clear, isn't it? You know what I mean? So you take people from all over, you give them quite a basic game plan, you know what I mean? And then you actually work on like trick plays and trick moves.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's great fun.
But it all comes from the coaches, so it's like enjoy, but make sure you're all over this. And that's what you can do with quality players. Like I was lucky enough to play against England twice. Actually, I played 3 times, and Tonga. And we.
Who the hell did you get picked for the Barbarians?
I know, sober fella. Honestly, I was
sober fella who just hits rucks. Like, I mean, you don't exactly epitomise the style of rugby the BaaBaas are known for.
No, I didn't in any way. And
don't give me the ball! Don't give me the ball!
Where's the nearest rock? But I had teammates, genuinely. I had teammates the morning of the English match in Twickenham having a bottle of beer because they were shaking so much.
From a hangover or just the nerves?
From the week of
no way.
How enjoyable it all was. Yeah, really
I thought the rule is it kind of has to stop on a Wednesday, Thursday. But even some of the games, Traitors, we played like the Traitors version of that on some epic games. Yeah. Unreal. Yeah.
But sorry, I'm going away from the point. My point is you can get what Leinster have, quality players. give them a remit and they'll execute. And like that's what I didn't see on Saturday. I saw some of the greatest players in the country at the moment kicking the life out of the ball, like, kind of not knowing what they were at. It was just, I thought for that coaching group and that management group to have 2 weeks lead-in time to that match to put out that type of a performance. And then, of course, we're all going to go, oh, the players got to get it done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, but they do gotta get done. Like they're world class players, Donncha.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
so good, and they
Yeah,
will go on
Tommy.
and win the league. They'll win against Glasgow this weekend. You'd
Yeah,
have to expect. Now
of
they're going to be
course.
nervous, but you would be nervous as a supporter. But they're just so good. They should and have to win the next two matches. But I just wonder where their heads are
My point is, I feel an awful lot of it is being pointed on the
at the
pitch as
players.
opposed to,
Yeah.
yeah, and I just, we've been there as well. You got to set them up right. You got to help them, you know what I mean, and manage all that anxiety and stress by you being all over your detail, you know. So it's just, yeah, I think you're right. Like I say, like they've beaten Glasgow 52-0. They'll bop them, man. You know what I mean? They should bop them again. Just look at the resources. Look at the, you know, the marquee players, like your
Yeah.
Super League or whatever you're calling this new. But like, you take 3 of them straight away, wouldn't you?
At least. I mean,
Yeah,
geez, like you're obviously going to be taking Jordy Barrett, Snyman's going to be going. You've obviously then 5, 6 players from Leinster too, but maybe not the way they're playing. Yeah, it'd be really interesting to see Glasgow because Glasgow are obviously the current holders.
no, they're going to hammer them, aren't they? They're going to hammer Glasgow. They are.
I don't
Like,
know.
I
I don't know.
you know what I mean? They, one poor performance there against Scarlets, but surely we can't see 2 weeks of that lack of detail in the coach, like in the game plan.
Well, it's
Do you
going
know
to
what?
be
An interesting one. PSG winning the Champions League. I thought
right.
it was really interesting that the PSG's the team that won on Saturday, the 3 of the players from 2000, the kind of Neymars and the, who else are they that kind of star-studded team who
Did
was on.
Mbappe, Neymar, and Messi?
Yes, 3 of those are the equivalent of the budget that is spent on this group that actually won the Champions League.
Oh, really?
And I
But
just
they've
think,
a great coach now. Enrique's come in there.
there you
Good
go.
coach.
But do you
Built
know
a
what?
squad.
But
Yeah.
maybe that's, honestly, maybe that's half the Leinster problem. You know what I mean? Like, you look at Ross Maloney, right? He's talking out with Bat
Is he
this
Bath? Yeah.
weekend. So he's likely to win a treble this year. I know we'll have digs at the kind of whatever that cup is called, that other European cup that they won.
Challenge Cup.
But to be fair, the Prem, man, if they're to do that, you know what I mean? Like, if you cult Ross Maloney, he bleeds blue. You know what I mean? And have they gone away from nurturing that type of lads to bringing in
Well, I
these
love the fact
absolute
that
rock
Ross
stars?
Maloney has gone off there. Like,
Oh,
because he was behind James Ryan. He was behind McCarthy. You know, he was playing a few games here and there. He's gone off to Bath and all of a sudden he's going to win an English Premiership. I'm like, good on you, man. Well done. Go out there and get away from the blue tracksuit and push yourself. And he's done that. And it shows that the talent that they have there. I don't think it can compare Leinster to PSG. Like Leinster, their squad bar 3 players are homegrown young lads who've come through the Leinster system. They've brought them through. They're like the class of '92, you would have to say, for Man United. But maybe the '92 team has gone on and we're trying to find the next slot. Like, I don't know, like you're being a bit harsh now. I think that one game against Northampton has just derailed their season. I think, you know, the knock on from that, the supporters seem like they're fed up. They're struggling to get the crowds. Like, they were getting huge crowds before that match, and all of a sudden the wind just has been knocked out of their sail. And yeah, that match against the Scarlets, I don't know. I still think that they're going to win the league, but I think there's still going to be that damp squib over the whole lot of it.
yeah. The blue media's got to. Good on you. Well done. You know what I mean? You look around the stadium and you, on Saturday, and you heard people singing French anthems and you heard like nearly 13,000.
What do you want? What more do you want to say? Do you mean there's not really much more you can say to
No,
it?
I just think it's okay to question it. It's okay. Like, if you ask me, when it really comes to the ballsy moment, who really gives a shit? Ross Maloney in terms of playing from where he's from, or R.G. Snyman? You know what I mean? Like,
No. Right. Well, if Ross Maloney doesn't care about Bath. and he's
No,
still doing it.
yeah,
RG
100.
Snyman,
But he's ran out
like,
the door. You know what I mean? Like he's made way for
yeah, but
these.
the James Ryan beside Snyman, or Joe McCarthy coming off the bench for Snyman, or Porter coming on starting, Furlong, all these players cut them open. They're Leinster. Like the Leinster, you can't question their loyalties.
No, I'm not questioning the lads' loyalties. I'm questioning the guys that are being made way for. You know what I mean? Like,
Like the coaches.
no, like the kind of Snymans. You know what I mean? He was there talking out with Munster. Like,
Oh,
sorry.
that's Leo Cullen bonging in to tell you to shut the hell up.
Absolutely. Do you know what? We'll all get out our cheerleading pom-poms and just go on, Leinster, keep buying it.
There you go. That's the blue media shutting Donncha up, even on the Dublin channel. Of course it is. You're a total. Just outside Dublin Port, the ship with Donncha on it is going to be cast overboard.
I am sorry about this. I am.
Okay, go on. Tell us then quickly, Munster antics at the weekend. Munster Sharks. The game, Munster, I thought had it in the bag. Then Sharks came right back into it. Big performance of the players off the bench. Pulled it level, went to extra time. 20 minutes, geez, that's a long time in those sort of conditions to do extra time. And then to go to a shootout. It was epic viewing. Loved it. But then the whole, I don't know. Go on, tell us. What do you make of that initially before you get to the Penos?
No, I am interested in your take on it because I don't know, is it a good way for rugby to be decided?
Well, remember we were talking about this with the Lions series the last day as well. And I actually like it. I think the drama was amazing. That going to penalties, huge drama, edge of the seat stuff, and then the whole play acting by Hendrickse, or maybe not play acting because Khaleesi's come out and said, oh, he definitely did have cramp. But I mean, the whole wink to Crowley, you could see the back and forward chat with them. But realistically, the Sharks scored six kicks out of 6. Munster obviously had the 5, which I still thought was pretty epic shooting. But it does bring in the whole question around. So Hendrickse nailed his 2 kicks, and then a second one, while Crowley was getting set up for his kick, Hendrickse fell backwards as if he had cramp. Right, and then he's there in Crowley's eye line, getting his calves all stretched out. Then Crowley's looking at him, and Hendricks looks up, and you can spot him winking at him. And then whenever Crowley gets the kick, Crowley's back and forward, doesn't take much to lip read what he was saying to him. Then it goes to the Sharks' last kicker, the young lad, 20 years of age, 21, nailed it from the touchline. Who's all over him? Hendricks, who had the bad cramp. I mean, cramp gone, all of a sudden, yeah, no bother. So I'm just questioning, where is the sportsmanship? Like, do we need to hold on to the values of rugby? Whenever you were talking about taking your kids to rugby, it's with the values, the team work, the camaraderie, the respect between each team. That wasn't really, was it?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. It has been. Do you know what I'd say though? It happens all the time. I didn't really have a problem with it. What I loved, man. I loved Jack before and after it. He was incredible, I thought.
Well, he nearly missed his first kick right in front.
I know.
What is that lady saying? Are you okay there? We're getting a full-on announcement.
I know.
Is the boat turning around?
I think it is. We're heading for Cork because where the boat's off to. Apologies.
Hold on there, Mrs. Donncha needs to record some content for Father's Day.
Oh, she's on it. She really is on it. Sorry about this, Tommy. But no,
I can't really hear it because of that crap mic.
Nah. Okay, I'm on it with the mic. Do you know what? We know stuff like this happens all the time. When Rog was lining up kicks against Paul Volley, he would shout over at him in different things. When Saracens, when someone knocks on the ball, they all celebrate, stuff like that. One thing I'll say is he genuinely had a cramp. You could, whatever about the photo that Razzie has put up where you see his calf muscle contracted, that kind of sniper feeling as well, the way he hits the deck. But I love that Jack was there.
Why did they move him 10 metres back?
Yeah, but not even that.
It's only cramp.
Yeah,
Isn't
it
it
is.
cramp? Do you mean?
But yeah, but I like Jack even the give me the ball. I'm not worried about him, and I actually think the ref should have let him take it because Jack's in the
Ah,
moment here. But do you know what? It was probably all the antics that I was disappointed with around it. The way there was so many people on the pitch, the way there was other people shouting at him. If the players are going at it, fair enough. But when fourth official, or sorry, other people from squads get involved, I think that's bad
yeah.
form. Me and you can have beef, but when the physios are hitting you with bags and all that kind of crack, it goes a little bit too far for
A
me.
little bit too far. Yeah, no, fair enough. And but at the same time, it goes back to this whole league structure. It provides entertainment. It's kind of what you need. You need a bad guy, don't you? And I think even the clip of that whole Hendrickse clip, winking and stuff, I think it's one of the biggest viewed clips on URC social media ever. Do you know what I mean? So it shows people love that sort of stuff, and it shows that other sports are benefiting and using it. So maybe rugby falling back in its values and its cultures actually needs to embrace, I suppose, kind of characters and individuals and maybe mavericks.
I would.
What are you doing? You're tapping stuff. You're
I'm muting my mic because they're still at it here with the announcement. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, do you know what though? I actually think penalties is a wrong way to sort rugby, and I thought of different ways you could sort it. I think what would be better value and more suited. So let's be honest with you, right? You're lucky in a squad if you have three people that can kick a goal.
yeah,
You agreed? Like it's
yeah.
not the skill, so you should look at a skill set that we have. I think a good way of sorting it out. Remember that game we used to play over in Stephen's Green before internationals, where you throw a ball and only one person can go for it. You know that one? You put your hands behind your back. A giant game of that, or a tug of
It's like a
war.
reaction game. Yeah,
Yeah,
so you can dummy the pass, and if you move your hands, you're out.
exactly, or a tug
Yeah.
of war. Imagine both teams, right? You played 110 minutes. Here you go. Here's the rope. Who's ever able to pull you over the halfway line? Or
Tug of war.
I just think there's better ways of doing it. You remember we used to play red ass. One
Yeah.
ball goes up, one goes out. Pick your best five players, and they play red ass against each other. See, there's
I
just.
don't know. I'm all for the kickers, but I want to see the second rows kicking it. I don't want the three best kickers.
Do you want to
I
go?
want your five. I want the Martin Williams kicking it right in front of the post and missing it, or that was great. Seeing some fella coming up who's never kicked a ball before, and it's the difference between winning a competition or not.
I just wonder, should we play to the skills that everyone should have? Should it be like you put a target hanging off the crossbar and everyone has to hit it with their left hand on a pass? You know what I mean? Because that's something fellas should have to be able to do. I don't know about the
Well,
kind of penalty sides of it, but yeah,
it was the first time I think we've seen penalties in one of these games in an awful long time. I actually thought 20 minutes extra time after what was already a grueling match is really difficult on those players. We talk about player welfare, like the likes of the Sharks are going to be wrecked this week against the Bulls. But
do you know
fair play
what?
to
I
them.
actually think the golden point in extra time would help because
Yeah, it would. You're right.
both teams just locked up. And imagine if you just went for a drop goal straight away and you can end it early. I know if I was a front five forward, I'd be there like, I'm going to empty myself here for 6 minutes, get us in field position, and you take the goal, man. You know
Big
what I mean?
time. Whoever gets a kick off and first points, yeah, drop goals from everywhere would be brilliant, actually. Imagine how epic that would be if people were missing and stuff as well. Okay, right, Donncha, I know you're busy there. The boat is getting going and you've got some serious content to record. Leinster are in the semi-finals of the URC this weekend. They're playing against Glasgow. I think it'll be tighter than you think. I think Glasgow are going to be able to put it up to them. They've got a couple of their senior players back as well. That's at 7:45 or 2:45 on Saturday, and it's the Bulls against the Sharks after that. Quickly, just have to mention as well, Paul O'Connell named a squad. Craig Casey is going to captain the Irish team against Georgia and Portugal in the summer.
Good on him.
Any
What a great.
standouts for you? Anything that you want to say on the Ireland squad?
No, need to look at it more. Obviously, you look at who's out of it. Obviously, with red eyes, of course. Like Tom Farrell, I thought had a great season. John Hognett, you've wonder, you know what I mean? Could they be thereabouts? But you know better than anyone, Tommy. Selection's always fair, isn't it? You know what I mean? If you can play well with your teammates in your provinces, you force the hand, don't you?
Yeah.
And I think with the amount of stars that are missing, it looks like a well balanced squad and looks like one that could go well. And Yeah, with Craig as captain as well. That's
I know. What an
incredible
honour for
honour.
him.
Yeah, what an honour.
Unbelievable,
He's so
yeah.
proud.
Fair play to go along with the Munster coaching setup as well. So that's convenient,
Whoa,
isn't it?
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Well done, Paul. Stick to what you know, of course. Now, fair play to you. Tom Farrell, is he from Is he from Munster?
Yeah, no, he came down from
No, of
Connacht,
course
didn't
he's
he?
not. That's why he's
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
Sorry about that, Tom. Anyway, 11 uncapped players in the squad, as well as a couple of young players who've been added to the training squad as well. A couple of the young players from Ulster too, which I'm delighted to see too. But yeah, it's going to be great. Good opportunity for a lot of those young guys while the players away from the Lions as well. And I'm actually delighted for Craig Casey. He's actually come back from his injury unbelievably well. And it's great to see him back firing. He's going to be a really proud. Imagine how proud he will be singing the anthem as the captain of Ireland.
Yeah, it'd be great. Good on him. Yeah, we'll be shouting and roaring them on as it goes on.
Do Stena go to Tbilisi? Like, is there a boat to Georgia? We're a bit landlocked, aren't we? Maybe Portugal.
It wasn't that the story about the Lions that used to tour in the early days. They'd go like it was a 3-month tour. Didn't say. I remember Don Lennon telling the story that someone went on tour with a broken leg, and by the time they arrived at Australia or New Zealand, wherever they were, his leg was healed. That's what it feels like now. I'm touring.
Well, we'll see you in Perth for the start of the Lions
There
then
you
in
go.
what, a month's time, Donncha. Yeah,
Good
brilliant.
Yeah, Tommy, I know you touched on it there, but I actually think it could be a great weekend of rugby. There isn't as much, and we're getting to the pointy end, but there's like the Prem as well, has Bath and Bristol on the Friday night. There's also the Reds and the Crusaders. That's getting to the kind of pointy end with that. Armagh, the Chiefs are taking on the Blues, but one of interest as well, I think that people would, La Rochelle are taking on Bowe away, and every point matters in that league at the moment. So it's a good time to touch into the different leagues because we're getting to the business end. It should be great.
Good man. Love it. Yeah, fair play to you. Right, off you go. Record that content. Good to catch up again, Dunners. And of course, we've got the new Tuesday podcast as well. So make sure to check it out. We've a bit of a recap on our old chat with Joe Schmidt. We're going to have another recap next week, and then something a little bit different the week after that. So do check it out. Do let us know. There's a lot of Andy Powell messages I'm getting. People want to hear from.
Yeah.
So yeah, he could be one we might have to bring in later down the line.
Alan Wynne as well. I think people want to hear a few Alan Wynne stories, and I certainly want. I want to tell
the
them
Welchies.
Yeah, exactly. Always good fun.
Good man, Dunners.
Spinnakers away, Tommy boy. I'll chat to you on the starboard side.
How Leinster. How very Leinster. Good luck.
Mind yourself, fella.